Coming to you live from the Great Hall in Toronto, Canada, it's Long Night with Vish Khanna. Tonight, Vish welcomes game designers Mare Sheppard and Raigan Burns, and musician Sean Hatton. Your house band is The Bicycles. My name is James Keast, and here's your host, Vish Khanna.
Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Long Night. My name is Vish, and we have a great show for you tonight. But before we go much further, how about another hand for The Bicycles and James Keast? Thank you very much. James, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. It's nice to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So we're talking about video games today.
Yep.
And independent music. How they
I love
connect.
one of those things.
You only like one of those things?
I only like video games.
You're a big video game guy.
Yeah, that's the secret. I've been editing a magazine for 25 years about something that I'm not.
You're the editor-in-chief of Exclaim Magazine, which is one of Canada's only national music magazines. There's another one. I dare not say its name. Anyway.
I literally don't know what you're talking about.
Music Works, the other one. They're great.
They're available in like 6 outlets.
Anyway, this is not meant to be a thing.
That's not that.
My point is...
100,000 copies.
You guys have 100,000
copies?
The country. Is it going to be this? It's going to be this thing where you make fun of people? But interestingly, your music magazine, until relatively recently, had a section devoted to video games.
Sure, yeah.
Why did you feel compelled to do that?
Well, I mean, in terms of, we like to kind of cover all the nerdy aspects of popular culture. So we cover film, we cover stand-up comedy, we cover video games, you know, anything the kids are into, basically.
Okay. So you obviously felt that video games were important to the culture.
Sure,
yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, well, we're gonna explore that today a little bit. As I say on the show, we begin our exploration of this topic in a new segment that we like to call Killing Time on Long Night by talking to members of the studio audience. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I understand that one of you is named Mitch.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, hey Mitch, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, I'm Vish, and
Nice
the other one of you is Josh.
That's me.
Hey Josh, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
You guys like video games?
From time to time.
What kind of video games do you play?
I like to play like story, get a nice story gets me going, or some heavy action headshots.
Are you hitting on me right now? It just seems like a little more seductive an explanation than we require for this segment. Why are you talking like
You're
this?
such a beautiful man, it's hard to look away,
I've been told that I look quite lovely, everyone. And you, sir, what about you?
I like roguelike video games, kind of procedurally generated over like 20 to 40 minutes, kind of short experiences.
You have a very specific needs.
Yeah. But,
Needs and wants.
A lot of people like them.
Okay, yeah.
I think at least.
How often do you play video games in a day?
Probably
In a day.
in a day, I'd say like maybe once a day, kind of just to unwind.
Did I phrase that wrong? Like, how many hours a day are you spending on video games?
Probably 2 to 3, not like the largest amount.
2 to 3 hours
Yeah.
a day just playing video games?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, are your parents proud of you for all that?
Probably not.
No, probably not. Now, do either of you pay attention to the music in a video game? Like, is it important?
I think it adds a very important element.
Oh, God.
I mean, the video games is like, the sound in general is what creates the environment, and it really makes you feel like you're a part of the experience, right?
Right.
So I think it's music and the sound effects are a very important part of the immersion.
I feel like at the end of every one of your sentences, you should say ribbed for her pleasure. That's what I think. That's how it feels to
Ribbed
me.
for your pleasure,
Yeah,
maybe.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I got to get a haircut. Everyone's hitting on me. All right, well, would you guys be willing to play a video game throughout tonight's episode?
Let's do it.
Are you both willing to do this?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
this
for
is
you,
great.
though.
So we happen to have a monitor set up over there with a console, and we're going to play one of the games. I believe, are we playing an N+ game? Is that the plan? Yeah, I think we're playing a game that was designed by one of our guests tonight. So you'll go play the game, and we'll check in with you periodically, okay?
Let's do it.
All right, I figured you were going to say that. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, gaming experts and developers Mare Sheppard and Raigan Burns and multifaceted gaming guy and accomplished musician Sean Hatton will all be here. Thanks for watching Long Night, everyone. We'll be right back. Promotional consideration provided by Long & McQuaid Musical Instruments, serving musicians in Canada since 1956 with 75 locations from coast to coast. Visit long-mcquaid.com for info on cities, stores, and services. Welcome back to Long Night. It's now time for us to check in with our gamer. All right.
Thanks, Vish. I'm over here at the game corner.
Yes, James.
And so far, there's some jumping and getting of buttons. There was some initial confusion about doors, and honestly, I have to be fair, there were a couple deaths. But things seem to be going better now.
All right, as long as there's not too many casualties. What are the gamers thinking right now there? Mitchell, how are you doing over there? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, good. And I'm hesitate to ask Josh, because I always feel slightly violated afterwards.
I'm concentrating right now. I want to look at you, but I have to play the game.
Okay.
Some divided attention over here.
True boyfriend of mine. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, we'll check in with the gamers periodically. That's great. How about a hand for the gamers and James over there? All right, let me introduce you all to tonight's guests. In the year 2011, Mare Sheppard and Raigan Burns founded MetaNet Software, an award-winning indie game development company best known for its N and N++ games. Sean Hatton, also known as Mega Sean, is a vibrant producer, host, writer, composer, designer, publicist, event planner, promoter, and creative campaign manager who is well-versed in gaming. That was a lot of stuff. We're so happy they're all here tonight, so please welcome Mare, Raigan, and Sean to Long Night. Thank you. Nice to have you here.
Good to be here.
Thank you, Mare, Raigan, and Sean. How are you guys all doing?
Good.
Great.
Pretty good.
Good. Welcome to the show. And I guess before we go too much further, Sean, what the hell? What are you wearing?
So I was going to wear a suit and tie, but then I didn't want to confuse people because they're already going to be confused that there's two brown guys on the stage.
Right.
Not normal for talk shows.
That's
really.
true. That's true.
So I decided to go with something a little more musician, seeing as I'm the musician on the panel here today.
Right.
So
I do
rock
want to.
star kind of.
Sure.
Whatever.
So you got a little bit of Andre 3000 from Outkast. But in order to not confuse white people about brown people, you chose to dress mostly like one of the most famous brown beings of all time,
Yes.
Chewbacca.
Well, another reason for this, I do like this hoodie. It's very cozy, but the last time I was here, I was freezing. So I was.
Last time you were here, we've never done this show before. What are you talking about? You just hang out in our studio?
Yes, I was. I was here last week.
Okay.
And it was very cold down here.
This explains the smell. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're okay now, and your shoes are great too. You look good, if I might say. Now let's start with Mare and Raigan. I mentioned you started MetaNet Software, right?
2001, actually.
Was it 2001?
Oh, yeah.
Why did I say 2011? I thought I saw that on your website.
Well, no, it should say 2001 there.
Is it my fault that I screwed it up? I'm sorry.
I mean,
That's
we've
okay.
we've been around for so long. I think maybe you were just shocked.
Yes, 2001. So you've been at this a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about how and why you started your company?
Sure. So we met in university. We were both taking a Java programming class, and I guess we just figured software programming is super boring, and we sort of bonded over the fact that we both really hated it, but we liked games. And we also have a lot of other interests, like Raigan makes music and I do art, and we both really like film.
Right.
And we just started playing other games and noticing that a lot of games that were really great and, were, proper games, real games, were made by really small teams of just students, 1 or 2 people, just doing what they love. So we thought, maybe we could do it. Maybe we should just try and see what happens.
Right, and you mentioned that you're into films and Raigan's into music. You saw the potential for some kind of cross-platform creation in video games, right?
Yeah, because there's a chance for you to use all your skills. We can incorporate art and music and programming, and we can do basically whatever we want with that. So it's really liberating. And there were games that we started thinking about that didn't exist yet, so we thought, why don't we just try to make them?
Okay. Now, what are some distinctions between the games that you make at MetaNet and some giant, huge games? We hear about all the big games, but Raigan, what are some distinctions?
I think mainly just the size of the team has a huge impact, because when you only have 1 or 2 people, you can really feel that person's personality come out in the game. It's like everything is sort of personal. It's when you have a team of like 200 people making a really big game.
Yeah.
It's like there's one person whose only job is like, I'm painting everyone's fingernails or eyebrows or whatever, and it's just less of a unique, distinct, weird thing. And also, when you're like a small team, you can afford to take risks. If you're paying 200 people, you can't spend a year or 2 on some crazy idea that might not work out. Right. But if you're just working on it in your spare time, then you totally can. And that's why a lot of the most interesting, weird, quirky games are made by very small teams that can be agile.
And then the interface, you talk about kind of the minimal number of people working on any given game at a company like yours. The interface, as we can see by the game that these guys are playing over here, relatively minimal, kind of sparse looking game. It's not a lot of heavy graphic detail kind of stuff.
It could be. We made that choice deliberately because we thought, first of all, we really like a minimalist aesthetic, but also N++ is really challenging and you kind of need to be able to focus. So we thought better to pare away everything else and let you do what you got to do. So we made that choice particularly, but I think even some small teams just put more focus on the graphics or more detail into the graphics, and that's how they help their game be distinguished from the multitude of other games out there. So it just depends on where you want to put your focus.
Okay.
We're definitely playing to our strengths.
Yeah.
But we just love print graphic design, and games don't really feature that kind of look, that really smooth anti-alias vector art.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we think that's gorgeous.
Right.
So.
Well, you mentioned the word focus there, and I just listed every single job that Sean has ever had, right? Those are all things you have listed on your website as current vocational attributes. Why do you do everything you do?
Mostly to keep out of trouble, to be honest, and also because it's fun. And I'm the kind of person who I always want to do something different, something that's a little bit different from something that I've just already done. So that's why I've been in so many different fields, dabbled here and there, and I found that throughout my, creative or professional life, one of the constants is music. So
Is music like the first thing that you set out to do?
No, it was actually journalism, but I've always been in like little bands here and there while still having a real job, so to speak.
You sound a lot like me. Like, did your parents want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something?
Brown parents, right? Yes,
Yeah, that's
doctor,
what I'm saying.
Lawyer.
It's always doctor or lawyer.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, or real estate agent.
Or real estate agent.
Yeah, my dad's always
Right.
like, why don't you get into real estate?
Yeah. My mom's like, Faisal Susiwala sold another house, and I just plugged his stupid realty company now.
Damn it!
And now I'm going to hear about how he sold all this other property.
Jeez.
It's annoying. Brown parents are the worst.
Yeah, well, my parents aren't disappointed in me, which is good.
Oh, you're one up on me. No, I'm just kidding. They loaned me a car to get here tonight, actually.
Wow. Okay. Every now and then I do have car trouble, and my dad is a good backup.
It's good.
Yeah, he's got my back. But yeah, I mean, they were great. When I was growing up and in college, I would have friends come over. I played drums initially, and
So did I.
Yeah, and so like when you play drums, you can't really just take your stuff to someone else's house. Everyone's got to come to your place and also it's just a pain in the butt to set up drums.
You know what a white woman once said to me? I'm sorry, guys. You know what a white woman once said to me?
This is getting a little...
Well, I'm just saying. She found out that I played drums, and she saw me play drums, and she's like, and her husband was like, he's a pretty good drummer, and she said, you must have learned how to play tabla when you were a kid, right? A white person said this to me. Can you believe white people? How about a boo for white people, everyone? I'm making it weird, but sorry, we've gone on a couple of tangents, and we're probably running out of time, but continue.
So yeah, music has always been a part of my life in some way, and when I was able to finally connect with like an indie game developer and make music with him for his video game, that's when I realized like, wow, music can be more than just, you know, maybe having a gig once a month and getting paid $50. Like, you can actually make money as a game musician because they have contracts and funds from the government, et cetera, and game royalties and all that. And so it's actually a viable career option for folks.
Yeah, I want to get into that more while we have you here tonight. But the one thing that I was going to ask, and maybe you kind of just spoke to it, is in mainstream culture, and I didn't really know this until the last few years, in mainstream culture, gaming is a huge business, right? Like, it's big, big business. How does it, like, I don't know if you can speak to this, Raigan, how does gaming, in terms of an industry, relate to the things we normally associate with making money? You know, like indie rock or a pop-up restaurant. Like, what, is it a big money business? Is it as big as we think?
Yeah, it's definitely, like, I remember a few years ago was like the first year that the games gross, there's more revenue from games than movies, than Hollywood.
Yeah.
And like, because in the industry, everyone's like, woo, games. And so, I mean, I guess it's big in terms of money. It definitely feels like it's still, in terms of the size of the audience, it's still less mainstream than something like music or movies. Like, those are sort of, everyone is into those. Right? And it's really weird if you're like, oh, I don't listen to music. That's kind of pretty strange. But there are lots of people that still don't play games. It's like, now that everyone's using their phones and stuff, it's definitely spread. There's less of a stigma than like 10 or 20 years ago. Right. But I feel like culturally it's still not as mainstream, but it's definitely moving in that direction.
Okay. Mare, you and I spoke about a year ago or something on my podcast, so I know a little bit about this, but I had no idea how strong Toronto's gaming community really was as an infrastructure. Can you, in relation to other cities, is Toronto a leader among gaming communities, or is it? Yeah,
I would say there's just so much going on here, so many people making games, and so many people making different kinds of games. Like, there are people making games all over the world, but we have a pretty special community here. It feels like you can have a great conversation with someone else who's making games and be inspired by them, and, you know, like, we share feedback with each other, and it's really supportive and welcoming, and it's awesome. And I think because, I mean, it might have developed in part because we didn't have as many big studios here. So we all sort of, you know, just managed to scrape together something ourselves, and I think that creates a real sense of community because we're kind of all in this together, and we can help each other survive, and it just feels really good to make games here. Okay.
Well, we're going to take a quick break because we're a little short on time, and I need to get my dad his car back. We'll be back with more from our gaming and music panel. No flipping. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Thank you very much. Promotional consideration for Long Night provided by Encore Records, my surrogate home as a child. It's based in Kitchener, Ontario. Visit encorerecords.ca for more information. Yeah, nice. We're back here on Long Night with our guests, Mare Sheppard, Raigan Burns, and Sean Hatton, and we were discussing gaming and music, and we have a couple people playing a video game right now. I think we should check in on our gamers. That's what that music means.
Thanks, Vish. I'm over here in White Guy Corner, where the video game playing continues apace. And I have to say, things have taken a little turn for the challenging. This game is not as simple as it first appears. There are like bouncy trampoline things that fling you into the ceiling and you die. There are spinning razor blades everywhere. The guys might need some advice. So,
okay. Well, we happen to
do you
have
have any questions from the creators of the game who could potentially help you in this endeavor?
Josh, do you want to start? You got any?
What IQ do you need to beat this game all the way through?
I will say, guys, is there an IQ limit or?
Not really.
I will say, just from watching this, I'm gonna say that the 2 or 3 hours a day that Mitch is spending on the couch are paying off. I don't know what Josh is doing.
What, Mare, if you look over to the N++
Mitch, do you have any
zone, newly named the White Guy Corner, can you tell us what you see there? Like, what should they be doing with the game?
Well, it looks like they're playing in race mode, which is competitive multiplayer. So
They're playing in race mode because they're in White Guy Corner.
I didn't want to say anything.
I
but,
understand.
You know.
I understand.
So right now they're just trying to win the level by
to the
getting
exit
to the
before the
exit
other.
first. And then when you get to the exit, you become a rocket and you can fly around and kill the other person. So
You
there's
can rocket
that
murder
perk.
them. That's the best
Yes.
part of the game is the rocket murder.
Okay,
Right,
so
because the game's not challenging enough as it is.
Well,
Yeah.
we thought we would just add that little.
you turn into a rocket, or
Yeah.
you?
Well, you get to
rocket
control a rocket.
appears.
Yeah.
A rocket appears, and you're in the rocket?
You're controlling it.
It makes way less sense when we try to talk about it. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm more
We thought about
confused
the metaphysics
with the
of it. It's
explanation.
true.
No, but
Okay,
it makes perfect sense if you're just playing it.
Okay, all right. James, should we check in with you later?
Yes, please come back to the zone and we'll get another progress report.
And that's the end of our check-in with the gamers in the White Guy N++ zone. Thanks, guys. That was helpful. I have to say that was a helpful thing. Oh, first of all, we were talking about Toronto gaming, and you wanted to mention an organization.
Yes, Toronto is the home of the first arts organization dedicated to video games called the Hand-Eye Society, which we're co-founders, but the mastermind behind it is in the crowd actually, Jim Monroe. I can't see him right
Jim,
now.
I think I
He's
saw
hiding.
Jim earlier. Jim, are you still here? Oh,
Yep,
that's
there he
awkward.
is.
Is he here?
Yeah,
He's hiding.
there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
everyone's shy.
it's definitely, and I think actually Toronto was also another Jim project, home to the first indie arcade cabinets, where like games made in Toronto were put in arcade cabinets for one of the like Nuit Blanche like 4 years ago.
Oh,
5
I
years
see what
ago,
you're saying. Oh, okay.
Which both of these things have inspired other people around the world to make their own indie arcade cabinets and start their own arts organizations.
So Toronto, in lots of ways, Toronto is leading the pack, but in particular, you're saying there's some real gaming innovations going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I could say we've got it going on.
Oh yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I wouldn't have said
Wow.
it.
It's
yeah.
an inside.
I wouldn't. What does that mean?
It's the official slogan of the Ontario Media Development Corporation, which is, anyways, it's like a game. It's a very cheesy, bad slogan. It's because Ontario, O-N, on.
Oh, okay.
It's a very bad pun. I'm sorry. I
I'm
shouldn't
sorry.
have said it.
Government slogan.
I think
Yeah,
it's my fault for following up on that.
Yeah.
It's probably my fault. Now, I have to confess, like I have you all here and I'm asking these super interesting questions, but I haven't been an avid gamer since like third year university. Someone stole my Sega Genesis console. That's the last time I've really played.
That's heartbreaking.
Is it though? I used to have a specific move in the NHL hockey game.
Oh yeah.
It was called the Inarine. You deke one way, then you pull back, roof it. I'd always score.
Classic. The move that you can always depend on is like looping around the back of the net, coming back to the top of the
Right.
circle.
I never
Put it
did
in.
that. I like the Inarine. That was my move. Did you ever
Whatever
play those
works.
games?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Were they good games? Did you like those games?
NHL 93
that's the one.
really was the pinnacle of the series. There's been like 1,000 entries since then.
Yeah.
Now they just they come out obviously still every year. They could update the roster online and they do throughout the season. but they come out with another big title each year.
Would you ever make a sports game? Like,
Yeah, actually, we've been talking about making our own hockey game because, just to disagree, the problem with NHL 93 is that it's so easy to score in these cheap ways, and it's just NHL 2001.
I just told you about the intervene. That was my favorite move. It was
NHL
great.
2001 is because it's still arcadey like those old ones, but they made it so that there aren't any cheap ways of scoring. It's a way.
But I like the cheap ways of scoring. That was the whole charm of the game. I'd always win.
Which is like, Hit the Ice was like the NBA Jam of hockey games. Yeah, Andrew knows.
Okay, anyway, my point is, I'm a little outside of this, whatever this is. And what am I missing out on? What are people who don't play video games regularly, what are we missing out on in our lives? I mean, clearly...
Can I take this one?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, escapism, because the world is so terrible for the most part. You need something, you need art to enjoy whatever little bit of time you've got left before the doomsday clock advances, not to be morbid. Part of the reason why I do so much stuff...
Not to be morbid? Is that how you ended that?
Yeah. Well, part of the reason why I do so much stuff is because I know one day I'm not going to be here and I'm not going to be able to do anything, so I might as well do it now while I can, right?
You might as well do it now by spending hours playing video games.
So yeah, play video games, make music, make comic books, do what feels good. If what you're doing is putting positivity out in the world in some small way, even if just one person picks up on it and enjoys it, then it's worth doing.
Right.
But yeah, what you're missing out on video games, especially like Toronto-made video games, is a whole lot of interesting storytelling, lots of different game dynamics that really weren't around even 10 years ago. Like the scene in Toronto is one that is just so diverse, even, where you've got like a big studio like Ubisoft obviously moved in about 5 years ago, and there's a whole bunch of small indie studios from, you know, 2-person teams, 1-person teams to like 30 people in a small studio just making amazingly great games. You've got Cappy Games, Drinkbox Games, MetaNet, tons of very talented developers.
You mentioned a couple of companies there that I became aware of. I'm a music person, like I love music, and what really piqued my interest, like I mentioned, I'm not immersed in this world, but how I got into it was some of my friends who are musicians found new livelihoods scoring video games, and like they sell thousands of copies of vinyl records for soundtracks to video games. That's phenomenal, and meanwhile they're proper records, if you will. No one's buying them. So that's like the passion there is very fascinating to me. Mare, can you talk about why underground music and indie gaming seem to have meshed?
I mean, there's definitely a similar maybe way of life, it seems. So for small indie game developers, we kind of get the opportunity to do whatever it is we feel like doing. No matter, we don't have to think about appealing to a broad mainstream audience. We can do something weird or really niche or just whatever feels right, and not really worry about that. And I think it's probably similar in music, where you can just focus on exactly what it is you want to do. And so it kind of feels like naturally those two things go together really well. And you know, it's just very expressive. And since, you know, more and more people can make games these days, it's easier and easier to make games. And I think similarly in music, you just get more and more opportunities to hear such a diversity of people, hear from a diversity of people, hear what they want to say. It's a great way to kind of create an experience that we haven't really seen before and explore it to whatever end. So.
Does that resonate with you, Raigan, and Sean as well? But I mean, you're both musicians, I think, first.
I'm not a real musician. Sean's an actual. I just like, it's like I dabble.
You dabble.
I dabble. And I'm a big fan. Like I'm super into like following like music, keeping up with the latest.
Who's your favorite musician?
I
can't do it?
I can't even pick a favorite genre. I would say Function is amazing electronic musician.
That's another thing. I got corrected on this today because a lot of my friends are indie rockers. Seem to be a lot of electronic music that works with video games particularly well. In fact, my indie rock friends seem to now be electronic musicians. They've changed lanes all of a sudden. Why is that the thing? It's just digital interface, digital music?
Yeah, I think the barrier for getting into it is definitely a lot lower than it was, you know, with the first synthesizers that came out that would cost as much as a car. Now you can pick up like a used microKORG for $300 and start making electronic sounding stuff fairly easily. You can pick up software that does the same thing. And for a lot of your friends who are indie musicians, chances are they've been playing guitar or whatever since around high school.
Right.
So they've got the chops already, and those are skills that you can easily transpose to another instrument.
Right.
Once you know the notes, you kind of get the feel for what sounds good, and usually, what sounds good as a rock song will also sound good as a blippy NES sounding song. So.
Well, I appreciate this discussion. We have to take another break. I'm being told we have to take another break, but we'll take this short break. We'll be back with more in a moment. Please stick around. Promotional consideration is brought to you by Sappy Fest 12, taking place August 4th to 6th in the year 2017 in beautiful downtown Sackville, New Brunswick. Music, art, culture, and swamp magic. Visit sappyfest.com for more info. Oh, hey, we're back. We're back on Long Night, and we have a bit of time left before the end of the show. It is now time, I believe. I'm being told we have to check in on the gamer. Let's go over to the N++ white zone and find out what's happening. James.
We're over here enjoying some escapism, just playing with our second favorite joysticks. Things are going well generally. I would say that the mood of the room has turned a little bit to the cursing recently, so I think we're reaching some harder levels.
James, may I interject? Is it a muttering kind of cursing, or is it
no,
bold,
this is loud, enthusiastic
audible?
cursing.
Okay, all right.
We were concerned that some mics were going to pick it up over there. I think we're okay
Now,
here
is it
in the escapism zone.
Is it Mitchell or Josh doing most of the cursing? My money is on Josh.
It seems to be fairly equal from both camps.
Okay, all right. And is it a colloquialism? Is it something you can understand? Is it specific to a region? How would you describe the cursing?
I would say generalized Canadian swearing.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. And what about the game itself? What's going on behind you on the screen?
There seems to be more regular death imminently, and then also I have to say there's been a little bit of a distraction because the interviews have been really interesting, and I think the guys have been kind of just trying to listen to both. So,
oh, wow.
So we may have some divided attention, or they might not be that good at this.
Okay, Mitchell, let me ask you, how have you found the interviews over in the interview zone?
They've been so interesting. It's hard to constantly beat Josh at this game.
I see. When you're playing video games, you're just immersed in the soundscape of the game.
You got your headphones on,
right?
You're just on your bed, just playing some games.
I don't need to know where you do it. I don't want to know. I don't know what's with these two guys. Everything's a little weird. Josh, what about you? How are you doing?
I'm losing a lot.
I know. No, you mean at the game? Sorry, I meant something else. Sorry, I'm very mean. I don't mean to be mean. It's just my upbringing. My parents are great. Anyway, what's going on?
Mitchell has played this game before, so he's got a hand above me. You know, he's got some skill level that I'm not used to.
Okay. Well, and are you adversaries? I know before you were sharing a joystick. But now, see, I didn't like it either. That's
We've
why
got our hands on our own joysticks.
Okay,
now.
all right. I'm going to stop doing that. That's disgusting. Okay. Well, thanks so much for checking in, and good luck with the rest of the game. And that's how we play. Let's go check in on the N++ white zone. All right. Now, we don't have a lot of time left on the show, so I thought I would just ask you all on the panel final thoughts about the future. Hopes, dreams. What do you think is going to happen in gaming? Innovations that you're looking forward to in the next while? Maybe stuff you're working on. You mentioned you might want to do some kind of sports game. Let's start with Sean first. Sean, what are you working on? What do you hope is coming down the line?
Well, I hope that the game that I finished scoring over the summer, which is called Sometimes Always Monsters, sees a successful, hopefully imminent release because it's been worked on for quite some time. And then we're looking to also release that game soundtrack on vinyl, so I'm looking forward to selling thousands of those.
And your musical moniker for that?
I'm part of Laser Destroyer team for that, so I work with a few other musicians, some friends of mine.
Laser Destroyer team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my friend Keith came up with that, and we're like, what should we call ourselves? He's like, let's call ourselves Laser Destroyer team. I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
cool.
And you didn't have a follow-up
No, I mean,
idea?
I didn't care. I mean, the music, I felt that the music spoke for itself.
Laser
and then
Destroyer team.
Laser Destroyer team kind of felt like Voltron-ish.
Right.
So, I'm like, yeah, I can get behind that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. And Raigan and Mare, are you working on things together or separately? What's going on?
Together. I mean, I guess we do little sketches on our own stuff. I don't know. Yeah, we're still trying to finish N++. It's been like, we've been releasing like updates, and we're like the last final big one that's going to like double the size of the game is coming out next month.
So these guys are playing what?
The launch version, like the original.
They're just playing N?
Yeah, no, they're playing N++.
N++, but it's like not the real
That's
thing.
the thing. It's like these.
No, it's the real thing.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I'm
it's just
sorry,
like,
I didn't mean to offend you. I don't know how to
these days you have
talk.
to really
This isn't my culture. I'm a stranger in a strange land.
No,
Makes
it's
sense.
like releasing the game is like, that's just the start. It's like then you have to every month release new stuff for the game to keep the buzz
same
happening.
game?
Yeah. You gotta
This
keep
is
that
like-
momentum going.
This is like the life of Pablo. It's like you just keep fixing the game even though it's already circulating.
Yeah. I mean, in our case, it's kind of like we made the original.
I got a weird reaction with my Kanye West reference. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing this pointing thing. That's weird. Like a sprinkler. Anyway, please. What is...
Oh no, just like definitely we've been making versions of N since 2004, so we're definitely done. Like this is the whole point of this one is like
I feel like
let's make it the best version. Like let's make it so good we're not even tempted to try to tinker with it.
Okay, you sound like a man in denial. Complete
Yeah.
denial. We're done. It's done. It's fine. It'll be fine.
One day it will be done.
Okay.
And
well,
hopefully soon.
And where can people learn more about your game?
nplus.org or just
Spelled out.
yes, nplus.org.
Oh, because you couldn't have the ad
We're not
signs?
really very good at naming
Yeah, the
games.
naming is not ideal.
They tell their thing Laser Destroy Team or whatever.
Hey, man, that's a great
Google
name.
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry. That's a good name. I just...
All right.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It always ends badly. The
When
show.
you try to
For more-
Google N++, you get a lot of programming blogs.
Right, exactly. But you don't want... Why didn't you just give it a different name?
Well, we
It
tried.
fit. We tried
I have
every
a-
symbol.
I have
N
an-
infinity, N squared.
I have an idea. The White Zone. For more information about our guests tonight, follow them on Twitter and follow me too. That's the show. That's it. We're done. We're done the show. You can get the stuff going. And thanks again to everyone involved in making this show happen, including you and the audience and watching us right now. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you very much.